Hello everyone, I'm back with another art tutorial and today we'll be painting an aesthetic sunflower. For the sky, today I'll be using an unusual color. This is a dark shade of turquoise which I made by mixing cerulean blue and light green. If you do not have cerulean blue, you can add any dark shade of blue and then add some white into it, or rather use any light shade of blue that you have. Now starting from the center of the sunflower, I'm using lemon yellow. Around it, I'll be using cadmium yellow, that is a darker shade of yellow. Here I cleaned my brush and got rid of the excess water, and I blended the lemon yellow and the cadmium yellow. And for the rest of the part, I'm using orange paint. Once again, washed my brush, and with that moist brush, I'm brushing over the border of the yellow and the orange shades so that there is a smooth blending between them and not just a distinct line. Since I had some water in my brush, like watercolors, I am bringing some of the orange towards the yellow side. After it dried up, I'm using a yellow shade which I made by mixing white and yellow on the center of the flower. I mixed some orange into it and then made some more dots. Basically, the center of the flower is darker towards the outsides and lighter towards the innards. And for the petals towards the outer sides, I'm using lemon yellow. Now for the rest of the part of the petals, I'm using cadmium yellow. Now once again we'll be blending the two shades using a moist brush, for which I washed this brush and got rid of the excess water. And now I'm brushing over from the lemon yellow side towards the cadmium yellow side so that the lighter pigment comes over the darker pigment and the two shades blend easily. Now for the details on these petals, I'll be using the same shades that we had used for the center of the flower. The shade which I'm using here with a size 0 detail brush is a mixture of yellow and orange. Mostly yellow, and then a tinge of orange was mixed into it to make this kind of a shade. I'm mainly using this in thin strokes at the petals which are at the back and thus receive lesser light, so are dark in shade, and towards the border of each petal. When using a detail brush, make sure you're not applying a lot of pressure on the brush, or else the strokes won't come thin. You can blend the shades with water as we had done earlier. I mixed some more orange to the previous shade, and with that I'm adding some more darker strokes to the petals. Remember that the outer sides have to be light and the innards have to be dark for the petals. Then I mixed some red to the previous shade and made a further brighter shade, and with that I'm adding some more details, mainly towards the outsides and the inner sides in very minute thin strokes. And here I'm using red in its true self. Also adding red details towards the outsides of the center of the flower. Now for the small hill-like structure towards the behind side, I used brown as the base and topped with some ultramarine blue details. After I laid in the details, I once again made my brush moist and I'm blending it to the brown. Using a moist brush, just brush over the two shades so that they blend easily. Now for the ground, I'm once again using an unusual shade. This is a grayish green shade that I made. For this, I took white and then some black. And then I made a grey shade, and into that I mixed some dark green paint. Leaving space for the leaf and the stem of the sunflower and the hand, the whole area is to be covered with this shade. Now to the previous shade, I added a good amount of white to make a comparatively lighter shade. And with that, I'm once again using a liner brush which has a very thin tip, and I'm using it in very light upward strokes to paint the grass. Do not apply a lot of pressure while painting grass, otherwise you won't get thinner strokes. I mixed dark green to the previous shade to make a darker shade, and with that added in some more grass. And now I'm adding some tiny florals using yellow paint, mostly towards the behind side and a little towards the front side. Then to the previous shade which we had used for the grass, I mixed a good amount of olive green and a tiny amount of black to make a dark shade of green. And into some part of it I mixed some white so that we have two shades of this color. With this white mixed lighter shade, I did the base of the stem, added some yellow shades towards the left side since I have considered that the light enters from the left side. Thus I added yellow to give it a lighter look. And then with the darker shade, which was the pure shade which we had made first, I added a tiny line towards the right side, that is the darker side. And the same shade which we had done the base of the stem, I did the leaves, and once again adding some yellow strokes towards the left hand sides. With a flat brush, mostly using the dry brushing technique, I added yellow towards the left sides, and with the darker green shade I added some more highlights, once again using the dry brushing technique with a flat brush. Now for the hand, I first used flesh tint for the base. If you do not have this shade ready made, you can take a good amount of white and mix a tinge of orange into it. Now towards the left side for the shadows, I have begun with the shade yellow ochre. I put this shade mainly towards the border and then blended it in towards the inside of the hand. My brush was moist all this time and I blended it right as we had blended for the flower. For the inner part of the hand as well, I did some darker shades since light does not reach very clearly towards the inside of the hand. Adding some more details using burnt sienna. I did a shadow on the hand which comes from the leaf, and some more details mainly towards the fold of the thumb. And for the nail, I did a nice peachy shade which I made by mixing the flesh tint and a tiny amount of red. Here you are with your aesthetic sunflower painting. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, do not forget to like, share and subscribe. Also, if you recreate this, you can send it to me on my Instagram handle, link for which is given in the description. Thank you for watching.